Hey guys, what's up? Episode 3 of Storytime with Devin. Here it is, coming right up. We got a lot of fun stuff. Stick with us. Alright guys, what's up? It's Devin Osborne here, your host with co-host Zach Spooner for the second time in a row. We are happy to be back with you guys. We know it was a delayed break. Zach and I, as many of you, I'm sure, it's Christmas time. Not everything can happen on Christmas time. And for us, it's just a normal break. We do this every year as a restaurant. So if you guys were wondering, we disappeared. Did it die out already? Devin gave up already. Is he that pathetic? Yes and no. I got busy. A bunch of life events have happened. And needless to say, the little bit of time that I was on vacation, I was doing it toward doing other things, other work-related things like refreshing for the new year. Needless to say, we're all here. We're ready to go. Zach is gassed up, and he's ready to go. So, how you doing today, Zach?
I'm doing pretty well. Got back from a nice time at Christmas, so now I'm back.
Yeah. What'd you guys do over Christmas?
Our Christmas was pretty low key. It was just immediate family. I got together, We were already all living together, and we just had Christmas. We got to FaceTime my aunt. She saw us, open our presents. We saw her open our presents.
Right.
Yeah. But that was pretty much it.
You guys do anything on New Year's?
New Year's, honestly, no.
Watch the ball drop.
Yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah, that was interesting in New York. We were watching it. Since we were watching it, streaming it on the phone, it was a minute behind. It was really dumb because we were counting it down and we were already late. My parents were watching this Netflix show and it said, I guess, at midnight this show goes away. So they were trying to finish it and time just kept ticking. We were down on the wire. We started taking pictures, and then it was 3 minutes out, and then it was 2 minutes out. And we had the show, or the New Year's ball drop on, and the girl was still singing at 12 o'clock, and we thought our Apple Watches were lying to us. We were like, what is going on here? And then we realized, we were like, wait, that's it. A minute later, it literally had the ball drop going and the countdown, and I was like, I feel ripped off here. I was like, we're on Eastern time. So I was like, I know that, it's not even oh, maybe they just messed up, Central Eastern, Nah. Yeah. Well, cool, man. Cool. Anything else happen, or what else? Did you just kind of chill out for the break?
We did get to go skiing up near the Quad Cities.
Okay.
So, yeah. We got to go for the day because we already had, all the snow gear, so all I needed to rent were the skis and the boots.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
That was a lot of fun. Fell a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let me tell you, man. Even before we left for vacation, this was some of the most hectic weeks we've had in a long, long time. I don't think I got to talk it over with you because we never got back together. But the week of Christmas, we all knew it was going to be busy, but it was Tuesday, Wednesday. Both of those days were extremely crazy. We sold tons of hams. Ridiculous amounts of hams. Whole hams, half hams. Tons of meals. We came in probably... Well, this is obviously the best year we've had so far, but, comparatively speaking to Thanksgiving, we were really close. So that was good. That was awesome. But yeah, multiple times throughout the day, we were trying to, with these orders, it was going to be a little bit, it's, usually Christmas is lighter than Thanksgiving, just as it typically goes. But this year, everything was firing all cylinders, and it wasn't that easy. Christmas time always gets a little bit more discombobulated than Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving, we're not open on those days either. Obviously, for obvious reasons. If our audience doesn't know, we're not open on Thanksgiving or Christmas. Obvious reasons, right? We're a family. We're trying to have a life. And sometimes we stop for about 4 seconds just to remember what it was like when we didn't have to work, 84 hours a week. Like, it's just, and that's physical, like in place work that much. Then we do 122 hours a week outside of here at home. And so at Thanksgiving time, we've got tons of orders, over 100 and some turkeys. Like, it would seem very difficult, but it was actually easier, it seemed, than Christmas, because with Christmas, there's like companies that have Christmas orders. Some people have different catering orders, and a lot of the items that people are ordering aren't just like a ham or a turkey. It's actually like, burnt ends, brisket, ribs, all of these other miscellaneous items people want barbecue for Christmas, which is awesome. I'm very glad that we can do that. It creates a different dynamic, though. So logistically speaking, in an operation sense, it takes a lot more preparation because you don't know exactly what's going to get thrown at you. For Thanksgiving, it was just a lot more given, like everybody wants turkey. And for whatever reason, as you guys have shown us, more people are really doing turkey at Thanksgiving than anything else. It's awesome. But what it does is it's created a chaotic mess sometimes. But other than that, it was amazing. We actually got out without a hitch, and we ran it really right down to the wire. But man, what a couple of chaotic days. 48 hours was just pure chaos. So that was interesting. But we appreciate all you guys out there who have put in Thanksgiving and Christmas orders. And not only are you supporting us, but we just really appreciate that we can be a part of your Christmas, your holiday celebration, and anything that you guys do. It means a lot to us. And so any way we can get there, we will. I actually had multiple people over the break, messaging us, asking us questions, but also ordering gift cards still after the break. We can order gift cards online, with our e-gift card system. That's a great thing that we have set up. Overall, man, this season was terrific. 2020 may have been a challenge, but honestly, for me personally, I feel like this was an incredible year of extreme growth. I feel like time maybe just slowed in a lot of other unnecessary ways, whether it was just normal life happening where people could party or go out. And I feel like this is like this for a lot of people. So when people would go celebrate things or do random stuff, now they can no longer do that. So it's like, okay, I guess we're going to focus more and do real stuff. And it's certainly been like that for me just because it cut out a lot of school. Like, school became smaller and work became 5 times larger, which is amazing because that's where it matters. Yeah, so it's been good, man. It's been good. We had a great season. We had a great 2020. This is the official announcement of it, and I just want to thank everybody out there who did support us, whether it was at the beginning of COVID, whether it was at the end of it, this nasty virus, whatever it might be. We really appreciate everybody standing right by us. It's very tough. We've seen a lot of business close. We've seen a lot of friends struggle. But nonetheless, we've been able to stick it out and even prosper through these times thanks to you guys' help. So we're here and we're willing to work, and we're trying to make it everything we can do to make it better for y'all. As you'll see, we're going to talk about a couple things we're doing in 2021 that should be tons of fun. So yeah, as of today, I think it is the Capitol has been ransacked. Is that the appropriate terminology for it? Stormed?
Yeah, stormed, ransacked.
Raided.
Occupied. Temporarily.
Yeah, what an interesting time. This whole thing's nuts. It doesn't need to go into politics whatsoever. But it's not like we can't talk about regular things. So, very interesting time. As of right now, it's nighttime when we're recording this because that's how much we work. It's like 11:30. I still don't think everything's cleared up.
Uh, they're mostly cleared out. They were having debates. Both House and the Senate were.
Yeah, yeah. But then this happened, and the people still aren't cleared up, right?
But I don't know if they're all cleared up yet. They're still outside the Capitol. I don't know if there's anyone remaining inside, because the House and the Senate are still proceeding with the certification.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, man. I mean,
Yeah.
when you look at what 2020 was for everyone, and I mean, we could go on about this for days. Some say it's terrible, some say it's all rigged, whatever. We're not talking about anything specifically, we're just talking about the year itself. But, like, we can all agree that, like, it was a roller coaster ride. I mean, most people wouldn't say that 2021 or 2020 was their favorite year. But coming into 2021, we have to realize that just because it's a new year doesn't mean it's an automatic restart, refresh, you know? I remember it was New Year's Eve, and it was minutes before, the countdown went down, and what I told my mom was, she asked if she was like, well, is there anything you guys would like to say going into the new year? What would you like to say? And I didn't, nobody prepares anything. I didn't prepare anything. I just came off the top. I was like, one of the things that I try and focus on is not necessarily waiting for the new year or anything like that. I'm a very adamant believer of I don't need to wait for something to happen. I control my own destiny in that sense. Like, I'm not going to wait for January 1 to come around and then, this year I'm going to, the classic, the be healthier, or this year I'm going to be a better person, or this year I'm going to be more kind, or I'm going to, do better on my grades, or I don't wait for that. And I think you do whatever you want to as a person. I just think it's a very childish way of going about it most of the time. It's just, when you look, statistically speaking, how many people follow their New Year's resolutions, if that's even a thing. A New Year's resolution, when you really think about it, this is what I really think. A New Year's resolution is actually an excuse. Everybody goes all year round waiting until, quote-unquote, this new year age to then make this, quote-unquote, resolution, which is actually just an excuse as to why they behaved the ways they did for the preceding 6 months or the preceding 8 months. People get to July and they say, instead of kicking this habit of smoking, I'm just going to keep going because, it's easier that way. But then they get to December 20th, 30th, November or January 1st, and then they're like, okay, this is the year I'm going to stop smoking. But what they did was they just allotted themselves another 6 months of screwing around for their own sake.
Yeah, and the average New Year's resolution lasts about 3 days.
Yeah. Or about 3 seconds. like all it takes is 3 seconds for it to mess up, And so I just say New Year's resolutions, man. I mean, so when they were creating, when that idea was actually popular and successful, it just blows my mind. But anyway, what I said that night was, I don't focus too much on New Year's resolutions, but whether it's a new day or whether it's a new year, there's always a new start. And that's what we're always trying to do here. And that's what I'm always trying to do in my life, is every single day, every single moment is a new start. There isn't time to waste so that I can get till even tomorrow. If I think that something needs to be changed, I'm changing it right now. We're always improving. You should always be improving, trying to get better, and do things in a nature to where it's benefiting the people in your lives and yourself on a constant basis. And so I think, that's one of the biggest takeaways I'm getting into 2021 is it's just stop wasting time. We all sit around and pander this idea of we'll get to it, and we can get to it later, and there's tomorrow, and it's we're seeing now that there isn't really always tomorrow, because today is right now. And that's all we can guarantee. It's this present moment that you and I are sitting in. So, wild times. Wild times. But I do have, and tell me your thoughts on 2021, but like, I do have good hope in 2021. I think most of us do. Honestly, it's like, I think 2020 was just so bad in that sense. They were like, how could it stay the same or getting worse? Like, whether it stays the same for the next 3 months, but it's like after those 3 months, I think society probably agrees in 3 months, we're probably looking better. Can we guarantee that? No. Are people going to be extremely upset if in 3 months the virus is even worse? Extremely, but like, I think in 3 months, we're all like, now we're on the uphill climb for sure. Right now, it's like we wish we were on the uphill climb, but clearly we're not because it's winter and sickness. Now, the interesting thing is going to be next winter. What's going to happen then? Can we get enough vaccines out? Can we get a stable vaccine? Can we get something reliable? Have you heard anything on the vaccine? Any updates on that?
Basically, some states are actually rolling it out competently, some are not.
Yeah, but like the vaccine's validity itself.
The validity?
It's response rate, success rate.
It's been pretty successful. So far, like, there's been very few, like, major reactions. Like, there's only, as far as I know, like, last time I checked, so might not be completely up to date, but there was only, like, one person who actually had, like, an allergic reaction to it that required hospitalization.
Yeah.
Out of the, thousands that have been vaccinated across the world, so...
Yeah.
It's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah. And guys, if you didn't know, the big reason I'm having Zach here, he doesn't just help me out. Like, this guy's a genius. One, he has time and the ability and the desire to read not just the news, that would be childish, but he reads reliable sources, actual, researched articles, opinion articles. He is well versed in a lot of different sources. So that's why I partly have him here, because this man's a genius. So if I don't know something, I'm going to ask him, and usually he's going to come in the ballpark of maybe not the right answer, but pointing in the right direction. So it's extremely useful. We appreciate that. Yeah, so, some of the interesting conversations around the vaccine is, like, for vacations and stuff, leaving the country now, they're saying they're thinking of instating a certificate in order to leave, to be able to leave. Or, the vaccine, they're instating a rule of, a certificate of, you got to have proof that you've been vaccinated.
Yeah, they do. But I don't know, they still might make you quarantine because the vaccines are just certified for immunity, so it's still possible if you catch it. You may be immune, but you may still be able to pass it on. There's not been enough extensive testing on that.
Yeah, but they're saying for travel, specifically, outside the country. Your passport has to have a COVID certified, or, vaccine certified.
I actually haven't heard about that, but
Really?
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I know, LA was... I don't know if it was optional, but you were allowed to have it certified on your phone. There's an app.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prove you got vaccinated.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be crazy. And guys, who knows when we're even gonna get the ability to get the vaccination or vaccine? We're probably months away.
Yeah.
I know it's nasty, and right now we're number 2 New York Times worst place in America for a vaccine.
In terms of increase, not necessarily hardest hit, but the one of the fastest increasing places.
Yeah.
It was a couple days ago.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. As of this record date, guys. So stuff changes day to day, hour to hour. Can't hold us too far on it, but at least Quincy ranks number 1 in one thing. And that they're trying to get there, and so props to Quincy and all the Quincyans, and no harm here, guys. But
yeah, also this is per capita. This isn't total.
Yeah, of course. If we're being anybody with a brain here, we realize that we have to do some math to figure out these numbers, right? So before you go jumping through the phone, let's realize here that we're talking about per capita percentages, people, not necessarily people land. That makes a difference, right? So yeah, I mean, this 2020 man. I mean, New York shut down. All the restaurants or all the businesses, restaurants are shut down. Back to go there, much
Like,
as it is here.
say L.A. too. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah, LA. And I don't believe California has lifted sanctions whatsoever.
Yeah, California's shut down big time.
Yeah. People are still crawling out of that place. I mean, my sister, Alexis, came back from the Navy, and she's actually going to move to California currently, like within the next couple days. And my parents and I were asking her about it, and she's like, well, now I'm kind of regretting it because of COVID still, but I didn't really have a choice because of the university I'm having to go to. And so, I mean, she's one of the people moving in, but people are just fleeing that place, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is insane. What a world, you know? It's 2020 for you. It's 2020. So, there's a couple other things I want to touch on there, but we'll get back to them pretty soon. I did want to talk about, like I said, some of the things we're going to be doing as a restaurant, as a business in 2021. Oh, news. City tax has been instated. So for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you do, but per Quincy's government, is it called a government? Like, what even is it? A board? Per Quincy's board ruling, what have you. City tax has been instated. It's a 1% flat tax going to all, I believe, restaurants and bars. I think it's just a sales tax. Don't quote me. I probably should have done my research on this, guys. Don't get me wrong. But I do know that restaurants and bars get it for sure. That was a big debate about it during COVID, whether or not they should have it down. In my opinion, it is what it is. I try not to let the government control what we do as a business also, or any business tactics at all. I just think it's dumb. Like, I'm not going to let you dictate, but like, whether or not they should have been instated, it's what it is. You know, it's unfortunate because then we lose business in a sense because taxes are higher, people pay more money. Just like especially for small business when we talk about minimum wage right now. Minimum wage is raising. Minimum wage right now just broke $11 an hour in Illinois. I'm sure most of you are well versed with that because it affects virtually everybody. So as of January 1, $11 an hour for anybody over 18. Well, that is great for a lot of situations. In the ideal world, it is not for a lot of businesses. Somebody's got to pay that bill. And at the end of the day, it's you guys. So, it's not just us. Yes, we take the foot, but we can't take it forever. And so all it does is just get trickled back down the line, and then it goes up in prices. And Zach, feel free to jump in whenever here. But, like, as I was saying the other day, milk, I don't know if I told you, but milk prices, as of 3 weeks ago, probably a week before Christmas, we went out to the store, we had to get some milk, it was on our weekly order for the restaurant, and milk prices raised from $3.20, $3.30 to $4.30.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Sam's Club.
Wow.
That was Sam's Club.
All these to like, I actually went and bought milk today. I'm
Really?
pretty sure it was it? I think it was $3.23 still there.
And I think Aldi milk was $2 something before.
Yeah.
Because Aldi's usually cheaper. But, like, even if you go to County Market, and I haven't checked the prices within the last week or two because we've been gone, but when I looked at those prices, the price of it was, or when we got it from County Market, it was $4 as well. And it didn't matter what milk brand you got, it was $4 or $4.39 or whatever it was. Cole Wholesale, which is another milk provider, they're usually more expensive. They're usually $1 above everybody else's, and they used to be $4 a gallon, but now they're $5 a gallon. And it's like, it's mind blowing. What people don't, the reason I bring this up, guys, is because what people don't realize is in 4 years, when they say, "Oh my God, the minimum wage is now like like these prices are just insane for restaurants or businesses, bars, what have you. Like everybody's going to forget about this moment, and nobody sees that this is the beginning of the rise of minimum wage. Like the increase in price of milk is not a mistake. It wasn't just a COVID spike. There's no reason for it. There was no shortage. There's no cow shortage. There's no milk shortage. There's no seasonality changing of prices. This is a direct effect of minimum wage hikes. Don't get me wrong here. This is not a demonization of minimum wage. There's tons of different theories on that. I'm just pointing out the causes and effects of what's about to happen. So, when you go to the grocery store, expect to see prices raise. Of course, they're going to raise a little bit marginally less because they can't compete with people like Walmart. Walmart's going to do everything they can to stay on top. And they're doing a pretty dang good job. It's insane. So, just be watching these changes. I'm interested to see. One thing I had a thought about was how the gas tax, or I guess the gas prices, are going to raise within the next year. Not only because of the presidency switch, but also because of the minimum wage raise, right? Gas stations are going to take that hit. So, as if candy bars and gas stations weren't enough already, you're not going to be paying $1.59 or $1.89 anymore. You're going to be paying $2.10. I'm telling you this right now. This moment is documented. 1/6/21. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be paying $2.10 and $2.30 for a candy bar within the next year. Like, flat out. Guaranteed. Maybe 2 years if stuff is moving really slow, but I highly doubt it at this point. Sodas. How much are sodas? $2, $2.30 for a bottle, 20 ounce these days?
I honestly don't buy soda, so.
Yeah. Well, that's where you're going to be at. So, it's interesting how this affects. What's your theories on it? I know we've talked about this time and time again, but what do you think about minimum wage raises?
That's the obvious repercussion. Like, the question with the minimum wage is, it does raise prices, at least to an extent, because the margins are so thin on grocery stores.
Yeah.
But it's like, is the raise worth it for, sorry, I'm having trouble with my thoughts. It's like the worker makes an extra couple dollars an hour. So is the raise worth it if the price of stuff is raised slightly? And that's where a lot of, complex mathematics and economics comes in that I don't know.
Yeah, and when I actually just studied economics this past 2 semesters ago, and one of the obvious things is virtually everywhere in economics, very few economists believe that having a minimum wage, period, is good. The ones that do, there's 2 sides of the aisle. There's ones that think minimum wage hurts, and there's ones that think minimum wage is, it can be helpful. But most, maybe I'm generalizing, but a lot agree that, having a minimum wage can be detrimental for obvious reasons that we've just listed. You guys out there end up paying more in the end, which are the same people that are supposed to be being paid more to do the job. And so all it does is create this inflationary movement, devaluing the dollar in the process, which then essentially screws everyone. And so the real reason this becomes a problem is, if it was done nationally, it would be an issue in itself. But we get paid $15 an hour minimum wage, but then what happens after that, right? If we go somewhere else, our price, or our dollar, I guess, spends for more. But the problem is when people come here, their dollar spends for less because our prices are higher. I just tell this story, and there was one time we went to Washington, I believe 2 summers ago now, because of COVID. It deleted a year from my brain. So I always got to remember it's 2 summers ago. And we went to this taco place. It was outside of Oregon. And if you didn't know, it's $15 minimum wage in Portland, I believe, right outside. Yeah. This was a fast food taco place. It was extremely eco-friendly, liberal kind of environment thing. And they were all about, serving good food, healthy food, and all that. And obviously, they had $15 minimum wage. They had some pamphlets on it too in there for like people that were applying. Needless to say, I remember looking at the menu just dumbfounded because the meal that I was looking at was 2 tacos and like chips. 2 tacos and chips at this fast food restaurant was like $9.70. $9.70. Now, this wasn't your typical like. This was like Taco Bell, but like supposed to be better. $9.70. And I mean, guys, if you don't realize the price of food and food costs in general rising over the years, it's happening. Like Zach and I, we'll go to Culver's, and I just went there the other night and got food for me and my dad, and the price that it ended up being for 2 meals was, and this is no hate against Culver's, but it was $19. And all we had was chicken strips, fries, and a drink. Medium drink, by the way. Medium fries. And hamburger, fries, and a drink. Both medium. And that was it. And price ended up being $19 and some change. That's almost $10 a person, guys. Years ago, we would have said $10 a person for eating out. That's insane. But this is what it is. And so, these are some trends we got to pay attention to. And that's the consequence of not only raising minimum wage, but price hiking, taxes, inflation, things like that.
I mean, the flip side of minimum wage is you can't keep it stagnant, not with inflation, because eventually it'll erode workers' ability to spend anything.
Yeah. I mean, guys, and look, let me play the other way here, just because it sounds like I'm being so demonic towards it at the moment, like demonizing it. There can be benefits to it, right? If you're in a very distressed area of people who have very low incomes, underpaid, don't have good livelihoods, it can be beneficial because it puts more money into the economy. It allows people to work at a better, it's a living income. But this is where we get in the debate of whether minimum wage should be a passive income or it should be a living income. Because we got to look at this and like when minimum wage was created, it wasn't initially created to become a full sustaining income. But now what we're looking at is an income that we're trying to get to where people can live in a fully sustained life off of it. So I guess we just need to redefine what that is and what that looks like. But prepare for some changes because it ain't going to be that easy. It's really not. Factory workers, right? They used to, typically on average, they get paid about $15 an hour, $13 to $15 an hour. Well, now what are they going to do? So another reason this is a problem for the workplace, guys, is because for all of the workers out there, if you initially got paid for a specialized job, whether it be an electrician, a mechanic, or anything of that nature, and you got paid anywhere in the range of $15 to $22 an hour for work, now all these people working a typical fast food service job, like waiting the counter, cashier, a Hy-Vee cashier, a bagger, now they're getting paid $15 an hour. And let's be honest here, when you look at the comparative ratio, I'm putting in very hard work, very high skilled, pressured work, and I'm only getting paid $2 more an hour. People start to give up a little bit. So, all very interesting things. But I don't even know how we got here. City tax?
Yeah, city tax, general increases because of minimum wage too, because of state laws.
Yeah. So city tax. I mean, again, I'm just gonna wrap it up with that. City tax, 1% flat rate, all restaurants, all bars, for sure. I'm not gonna say it's on anything else because I don't know. Just know that. Look, you'll see that on the receipts. If you're wondering why prices look or seem more higher in the past couple weeks, that's what it is. January 1st instituted, but it's a fact of life. And that's where we're living now. So does that deflect? Do all these price changes decrease tourism? or not that we have tourism here much, but like, does it increase outside traffic coming in, whether it be from small towns or things like that, to come in the city? Yes, it does. Why? Because there's more money. People don't want to spend money, so why would they come here? It's a discouragement. So, beware. All right. Let's see what we got here. Right. Yeah, so I did want to talk about over the break, we had a couple of interesting things happen. So for our family, we got out here for our break. We ended up going to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. If any of you have been there, it's a wonderful place. Very mountainous. I believe Zach actually just went there a couple months ago. And your time was good?
Yeah, right when break started.
Right. And did you stay in Gatlinburg, or you say Gatlinburg, but was it actually Gatlinburg, or was it in between the two?
Yeah, it was in between the two, like in the mountains.
Right. Did you go to Gatlinburg more, or did you go to Pigeon Forge? I believe you...
We went to Gatlinburg more. It was a little closer, so...
Really?
But yeah, no, we mostly like stick to like trails and stuff. We didn't really go into either town.
So you guys just kind of hung in the cabin?
Yeah, we hung in the cabin, like went hiking on trails, like pretty much every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the city... Guys, we've been going to... I guess I should say my parents have been going to the Smoky Mountains for the better side of 20 years now. And this year, this Christmas especially, we've gone twice this year, but this Christmas has been the busiest by far we've ever seen it. Incredibly busy. The parkway in Pigeon Forge was jammed, and it didn't matter what hour of the day you were there, whether it was morning, night, whether it was a Sunday, whether it was a Tuesday afternoon, didn't matter. It was busy, slammed, and a lot of that is because of what COVID has done. As consequences of COVID, we see that people can't go to Florida and go to Disney World. So instead of going to Disney World, now they go to the country Disney World, which is Smoky Mountains, right? Maybe they'll get their, you get all these basic white girls, no offense, they'll get their feet dirty and their boots wet and dirty and dusty, and then they'll decide to go out there and, have a good time. So while it's good, like their economy's booming, it's great to see that. It was quite frustrating for us. It took about 3 hours every time, 3 to 4 hours, just to go get food once a day. And we couldn't even eat out that much because of that. So we lived in a cabin about 25 minutes away from Parkway. It was stupid busy. We go to the restaurant. Yeah, can I get a table for 6? And I'd be like, okay, yeah, it's going to be about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. We're just like dumbfounded. We're like, an hour and 45 minutes? And then most of the time they would call us back within like an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, and be like, hey, your table's ready. And I'm like, okay, now what? Like, we've left. Now we've got to come back. Now we're on the other side of the parkway. Now we got to drive back. It's like, we're coming. What a time. But it made for a very frustrating experience. Besides that, the first day we got down there at 7 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Eve, because we literally left here. I closed this, and then I went home with my parents, and we left here that minute and went to Smoky Mountains. We got there at 7 o'clock the next morning, which was Christmas Eve. It was awesome. Thought it was going to be great. That day I woke up later, and by about 3 o'clock we were we had to go to the store at 3:30, 4 o'clock. So us kids, my brother Austin, who works here, Alex, who used to work here, and Chris, all of us, we went down in 2 separate cars to go to the store. And Alex was going to come back before us, so Austin and I were in the Tahoe, and so we go down. We knew it was going to snow. We knew there was going to be a bad snowstorm coming in the area, so we went to go get some food, not only to stock up a little bit, but also it was Christmas. We were probably going to be in for the next day or two anyway, and we just needed some food for Christmas. So we had just gotten there. So about the time we started leaving, it started snowing. But it wasn't like, it was like starting to snow. And we're living back in the mountains, guys. Like, this literally, our cabin is on a mountain. And if any of you have known, you know what the hills are like. You know what I'm talking about. My bad. Sorry. You know what I'm talking about. So we go through all these mountains, all these hills to get back there. So we leave, we go to Kroger. We're in the store. The store is stupid busy. We're trying to, like, be protective. We're trying to, like, shield our faces, not, like, get any kind of infection. You know, there's tons of people. It's like a COVID hotbed, I'm sure. And so we get out of the store, and it was probably only an hour later. But before we could even get out of the store, my mom gives my brother a call and says, hey, Alex is now stuck at the top of the mountain on the way home, and he can't move any further. I thought this was insane. I was like, what do you mean? Why is he stuck? And they were like, well, there's people in front of him that refuse to go down the mountain. And they just won't go. So now he can't get by. Even in his 4-wheel drive Blazer, he can't get by. And you guys maybe can get there and help him to get by or something. So we were determined we would get through because we had 4-wheel drive. We were like, it's fine. While we get there, mass chaos. As soon as we get... I mean, guys, it is snowing incredibly hard. Like, whiteout snow. That's where we're at right now. Whiteout snow, and pretty much it was slow driving. There was tons of people there. And you know how the people are on the strip. Like, they're slow driving anyway. We're talking about a ton of Floridians, a ton of Alabamians, people that don't know what snow is. They see snow. They're like, oh my God, this is magic. What is this white dust that falls from the sky? You know? So they're driving super slow, which is creating a worse problem because the roads are getting worse and worse as time goes on. We get back there, it's mass chaos. There's 30 cars off to the sides and the ditches already. It's crazy. Like, it almost looks like people just straight up drove their cars into the ditch. Like, I didn't understand it, or like what was happening, because it was like, guys, it wasn't this bad. Like, what happened? You know, there's like everybody that were in those cars are now outside of their cars. I mean, we're talking 40 people, 50 people or more. Their whole families, you know? So everybody's outside the car. They're all just like standing around trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do. And they're like, yeah, I think we're going to walk back 2.7 miles to the cabin. I'm like, okay, I'm going to drive until, again, it was so bad at that point. I tried to bypass a person that was stuck in the middle of the street annoyingly. I think it was like a stupid minivan or something. And I'm sure they were Floridians, and they were stuck in the middle of the street, and I don't know whether to thank them or to curse them for being there, because maybe if I would have kept going up the road, maybe I would have like slipped off in a worse position and wrecked my mom's Tahoe, something like that, or maybe it would have been better, who knows. But in doing so, they blocked the way. I tried to get around them. My right front tire slipped off the asphalt onto the side of the road, which was then the dirt. It's wet, it's snowy, it's cold. Snow is pouring down. It's freezing cold. It's super slippery. I mean, we're talking like, they had some good snow. If you want to have a snowball fight, good snow. If you want to make one of the biggest snowmen you've ever seen, good snow. This snow stayed for some days, too. Like, it was present. So we try to get by. I get stuck in the ditch, right? Now I'm in the ditch. Big problem, okay? Call my mom, dad, tell them what happened. It wasn't too concerning for me because I was like, we can easily get out of this. It's not a problem. Tell them what happened. And then they start freaking out. My mom does even more. She's like, no, this can't happen. Blah, blah, blah. I get it pulled out eventually. We ended up using a strap. So I ended up getting it pulled out. We were good to go. My brother was further up the mountain, almost out of gas. He stupidly drove up there on E, almost out of gas. So he walks down the mountain, meets us. We plan to go back in the city. We get trapped on Wares Valley Road, and 100 cars of traffic, both sides, in the middle of a snowstorm. Snow's still pouring down. This officer comes up to us. He's like asking us questions. We were trying to ask him questions, but his intention was to ask us questions. And it was like, oh, okay. So this is good. So the one question we did ask was, what do they usually do? Like, how long is this going to be? And then he says, this blew my mind because it was not looking good at all. And he's like, well, honestly, it's usually not this bad. And when he said that, like, I remember my mom being on the phone before and after that saying, like, the law enforcement's there, like, they know what to do, like, this is their problem, they'll figure it out, they can't just leave people here to die, all that. And then that was his statement. And he's like, honestly, we don't know. And I was like, cool. That means we're getting somewhere. So as you can imagine, it was problematic. But long story short, guys, we were stranded out in the cold, freezing weather with no snow gear. We weren't planning on it. Obviously, we were just making a quick trip to Kroger that ended up lasting nearly 3 days. And hundreds of dollars later, we ended up back in the cabin. We somehow, a local my dad got in contact with, he was driving through, like, shipping people from the hillside. He had chains on his tires. He was, obviously the only one that came with chains on his tires because we all were on vacation. Nobody planned for chains. So he was actually shipping people from over the mountain to the cabin, which was really nice of him. And shout out to this guy. I don't know his name. I wish I did. But shout out to nice people, I should say, because this dude, he really was a true giver. It was Christmas Eve, and there was probably 100 families that needed to get home to either be with their families or to have a Christmas. And it was very nice of him to spend his entire Christmas Eve away from his family, shipping people to and from, back and forth on a dangerous road, and for hours and hours and hours. I mean, over 8 hours of work that same day. And, shout out to him, guys. We even tried to pay him. Multiple people did, I'm sure. But I remember my dad tried to pay him, for, just being able to get us back as a family. And he refused to take money. And that's what it's about. There are good people in this world. And unfortunately, we don't see them often because that doesn't always make the news. And when it does make the news, we're just like, oh, okay, cool. Egotistical, jerk. Or like, okay, cool, like, good for them. I don't care. We focus so much on the bad stuff, it's hard sometimes to clear the windshield and see the good stuff. And it's all about perspective. When you start to see that we live in a society to where we don't kill each other every single day, in a country of 360 million people, it does pretty well. So, just shout out to that guy. We really appreciate him. Otherwise, we would not have had a Christmas together, and we were going to have to stay in a hotel, and we wouldn't have been able to get back to our cabin until Saturday, late Saturday afternoon at the best. But more realistically, it would have been that Sunday because Saturday the roads were still really bad. People were slipping and sliding all over the place trying to get through those that were, and it was just causing more havoc. Plus, the road wasn't clear as far as cars. There were tons of wrecked cars on the road. So, what a wild time. What a wild time. If any of you have had any of those experiences out there, of any kind of crazy winter or storm experience, let me know. Drop in the comments or DM me or something like that. I'd love to share it on the show. It's crazy. It really is. I didn't think we would be there. And I've honestly never... those survival shows that you see when you go to a hotel?
Yeah.
It's like... I don't know what it's called, but it's like it's like survival tactics. And like the guy... it's the classic narrator. I love this guy, by the way, for like all the Discovery Show channels. It's like, Johnny was out there in the wild 24 hours alone. And it's just, it goes down the, Johnny's had no food or water for 3 days. If he stays out there any longer, He's going to suffer from hypothermia. What will Johnny's next move be? Like, literally. I mean, great guy. Great. I love hearing that guy's voice. I really do. But yeah, that was like, you watch those shows and they're compelling. And it's like, that would be interesting. It's like, how to start a fire when you don't have anything to start a fire. Don't use your hair. Use, this little bit. You can use this part of your body. Like, all this weird crap, right? And that was the first time I've really actually thought, okay, I'm about to have to start using this stuff. Like, guys, we were for real stuck twice with nowhere to go. Even with all the people helping, we didn't know at the time. The snowstorm was supposed to last through Christmas Day. And it started at about 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Go through Christmas Day. So if it would have maintained, we'd have been absolutely screwed. Luckily, it stopped about 10 o'clock at night. So we were able to, actually crawl back there with more clear roads, and it was melting. It wasn't melty, but you could make your way without snow packing on still. So, interesting times, man. And I thought I was about to have to break out the old fire tactics, something like that, Yeah, so I'm sure most of y'all's of Christmas weren't that eventful, but if it was, I'm sorry, because that was tragic for the first 8 hours of our Christmas Eve. Or I guess the last 8 hours. What else do we do here? We got back. Immediately went to work. Planning for 2021. We got a lot of good stuff happening this year, guys. I'm hopeful. I'm faithful that it will be well. Hopefully we can get this dining room back open at some point. And not just use it for podcasts. Hopefully we can get it back open. I really... we were going to open it November 1st of last year, but then COVID rates were like spiking like crazy again. And it was like, oh, I guess not. And we'll see. Hopefully we can get the numbers down and get to a comfortable place. And we'd like to have you guys in here. But we're doing good. I think people are really liking drive-through and delivery. Now that brings me to my next point. We started delivery. Actually, this fall was our soft launch. Right before Thanksgiving, actually. So that was our soft launch of delivery. If you were able to do so, you hopped onto the website, fatbacksbbq.com. You go to our ordering site, order.fatbacksbbq.com. And that's where you order delivery. Nowhere else, not DoorDash, nowhere else, no other platforms, no other random sites, just right on our website. You can't, specification I would like to make, you can't call and order delivery because we use a third-party service and it automatically works. So we're partnered via Square with DoorDash in that sense. So yeah, our delivery is only available online currently. And another note is it's only available on demand. So you can't book a delivery out for 6 o'clock when it's 4:45. It's just as soon as it happens. So we put out orders every 15 minutes online. So you'll book a delivery, just plan 15 minutes out. It's not hard, guys. It's actually like 30 minutes because the delivery time takes 15 minutes. But plan 30 minutes out, okay? I've had people call and ask, they're like, well, I need a delivery for like later. I can't get it now. And I'm like, not really. Like, no, I'm sorry, you can't. But just order it then. It'll work the same. You're all good. And he's like, I can't get it now and then order it for later. And I was like, no, unfortunately not. And, we're working to do everything we can for you guys and make it as easy as possible. But sometimes when it comes to technology, not everything's just a switch of a button, right? We don't have millions of dollars to dump into software engineers, and I am our primary software engineer. And I'm an idiot when it comes to programming. I do a pretty good job. But, I'm an amateur. And Zach here is, he's just now getting into the realm of it. and he's helping us out a little bit. So big props to him. I'm excited to see where that goes. But yeah, that's the best we got. Because when you're a small business, you can't afford to pay somebody $5,000 a month on retainer to manage all this crap for you. And if you do, there goes all your profit straight out the window. And then next thing you know, you're working on not 3% profit, you're working on 1%. And yeah. So, but yeah, big announcement, delivery all this year. We are really excited about it because what we want to do is we want to be able to reach people. And that's been my whole plan this whole time. And that's why I've, since my parents started this, I've always wanted to be able to help them reach as much people as possible. And I knew that at one point or another, delivery was going to happen, especially when DoorDash came about and Postmates and companies like that, Uber Eats. But just facilitating it is the hardest part because, guys, when you actually partner with companies like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Postmates, I'm going to nail this one on DoorDash just because, like, when they said it, it burnt me for, like, 6 months straight. They take 30% of your profits, flat off the top. 30%. That's a huge profit margin taken out of each order when it goes to DoorDash. So, delivery is not cheap. It's not the best solution. It may not be always the most accurate solution, but it's what we have and it's what's available, and it's actually really sleek the way we have it set up. It's all closed door. You don't have to go through any other like wonky DoorDash app or anything like that. It's all through us. We take care of all the business side of it, and then all you guys have to do is wait for the DoorDash driver to show up at your door. So if you haven't known yet, hop on it. Delivery fee is $3.99. It's dope service. It's fast. It's affordable. We're here to help. We're here to help. And this year's theme of what we do here, this year's theme is we're changing people's days one plate at a time. And that's what I've been trying to stress since the beginning of this past year when COVID hit. Zach, I don't know if you were familiar at the time, but we were doing this campaign called Daily Differences. And basically, week to week, we would create a new dish and we would spice it up for people. Everybody was tired of eating the same crap. So we were spicing up things and making new dishes week to week and really putting out some creative stuff. But that's what and the whole point of that was not just to create some kind of more a new dish or anything like that. The whole point was our lives are boring. We're all stuck in quarantine. It sucks. Everything sucks. And the one thing that people were really grasping onto, the one thing that was like a guaranteed every single day constant, was at least they were going to be able to eat, and they knew they were going to be able to eat at some point. They weren't going to the gym anymore. They weren't having fun events. They weren't even going to work. The only thing they were doing was eating as an event, right? So we wanted to make that clear, or we wanted to make that awesome, and we plan on carrying that through 2021. Not that campaign necessarily, that'll come up in waves as it usually does, but we're trying to make every plate a difference, and hopefully it's making a difference in your day. So we'll see. We got a lot of things in the bag. Man. Anything else? I think it's almost Valentine's Day.
We still got like a month and a half.
Yeah, but it's gone, dude. True. That month's gone. Like, by the time we get to the end of this week, that month is gone. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it seems to be anymore.
True.
You're going to leave for college. I'm going to leave for college. By the time we get there, we spend a week there, settling in. By about the week and a half point, it's like, oh, Valentine's week is next, or Valentine's Day is next week. That's pretty much how it works. Especially this year, because we're going back kind of late because of spring break and COVID. Man, what a time. It's an interesting world we live in these days. Zach, you got anything else? I
got nothing.
No brilliant topics you want to lay on?
Unfortunately, no. Don't have a lot of those.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up, guys. Zach and I are extremely tired. I've had a terrible day. But that's okay because I know it's super important to put out this content, and we've been slacking, not really by choice, but it's kind of just how it happens sometimes. But like I said at the beginning of this, guys, it's a roller coaster. I really hope that we can end up doing this for quite a while. I'm not sure, but regardless of that, I want you guys to know we're trying to do everything we can. So we're here, we're serving, we're working. I'm editing. Zach's gonna probably, he's working. It's happening. So we appreciate you guys joining us, especially this far. Hop on social. Check us out, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We've got all of them at Fatbacks BBQ. We're always posting live stuff. I'm going to start doing some stuff with Twitter if I can get like 4 seconds. I'm going to start doing some fun stuff with Twitter, posting live specials, live deals that are only exclusive to Twitter, stuff like that. So you guys might want to follow. But I need 4 seconds, so it might not be until next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so it might be a little bit. Other than that, I think we're pretty much wrapped up, guys. We got a lot of stuff going this year, and so you're going to want to check it out. Do I need to say anything else? No, I think it's good. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you listening in. Check us out on socials. Check the banners. Check us out on our website if you need anything. You can always drop us a comment. You can always hit the Contact Us link on our website, fatbacksbbq.com. Heck, Zach, hopefully this goes so well. And the next year we'll be taking reservations for events. Speaking events, you'll use that PR contact at the bottom of the website to hit me up. I'm right there. It's building, guys. It's building. So we appreciate you listening, and we'll catch you next week. All right. Peace.